This will be take 3. Let's see if I can keep from screwing it up. What do rear view helmet engineers have to do with consulting in Gateshead, Newcastle, North Tyneside, Northumberland, South Tyneside, County Durham, Sunderland Local Council Authority? And why would they be consulting involving Smart Specialization Report on behalf of those areas, which was funded by Horizon 2020, for the European Union development? The Northeast Local Economic Partnership involved in it in 2013. Review Worldwide Limited was a consultant for this whole project that started in 2013. Review Worldwide Limited has gone through name changes and such, which is actually pretty common for limited liability companies. And it made, at that time, apparently, it currently still does, rear view helmets. Last account was submitted 2 years ago. I mean, it may be past due to submit data. At the time, it had a listing, this is the last update, 188,000 pounds total, after all, debts and everything paid, with a debt set for the last year of 96,000 pounds for whatever. Pretty common with companies. Name changes are done sometimes to rebrand a company, or the company's changed focus from making, widgets to making something else. Or it might be bought out by somebody who wants to change the name to get rid of its old reputation and say under new management. Review Worldwide Limited, as a company with the word worldwide in it rather than Review Limited, says it was incorporated in 2007. It had a previous company name before April of 2007 as Sandco 1022 Limited. Why is it called Sandco? Okay, well, here we go. Review Worldwide Limited was the name change, but before that there was a company called Review Limited in 2009. And this had a previous company name of Repulsed, something, regarding or to redo. Repulse Limited, 1999. And in 1992, there was a company director changeover through the same individual that was running this on paper for a company named Newcastle Fencing Company. And also M Steel's Leisure Limited. That would be Mark Steele, most likely. Who is the name that connects all of these? Well, Graham Steele. Also a person who goes under an alias or business entity name or a nom de plume or stage name of Ben Travis. Which makes no sense whatsoever, so I can't even verify this. I don't even know where the basis for this comes from. Logical Annie or Annie Logical, which is a really cool YouTube name, but it's now Logical Annie or something like that, has dug up most of this. Thank you very much for posting. Public disclosure. I may not agree with the conclusions of somebody who digs up data, but I am impressed at the work here. This is very well done. Now, this is the third or fourth time I've tried to untwist this. This may be deliberate. So let's review a little bit here. Locations for them. 10 in the House, Ferryboat Lane. Now, Sunderland, Tyne, and Ware. Next, another company location. Here we go. Newcastle, Sandgate House is a location. So Sandco, Sandgate. Okay. 102 Quayside, Newcastle upon Tyne again. Tyne and Ware again. And then another one, here we go. The Greenhouse, Greencroft Industrial Park, Stanley County, Durham. And then the Grove, Broom Lane, Wickham, Tyne and Ware. So this is a person or entity, personage in business name, that's been around in the area a long time. Well, since 1992, and that was Sandgate House. So Sandco, you know, M Steel and Graham Steel, or Ben Travis, etc. Now, I don't know about the Ben Travis connection, so we can ignore that for a minute. The company name, owner, entity, human, not name, but the identity, your ID code, your physical birth date, all this kind of stuff. If you were to put a number on a person, it would be the century, year, month, and day. Yes, you will use a 4-digit year. And maybe the hour, minute, and second a person was born, the location they were born, and that sort of thing. And of course, the birth name would be used to create the ID code for the person. And this ID code for Graham Steel goes through several, let's say, more than a dozen company names. Only one is left. And it is a company that makes rear view helmets, Review Worldwide Limited. But there's a path that goes all the way back to 1992 with a company called M Steels Leisure Limited. That connects them, and they're very much connected. Next, an assertion by Mark Steele is that he's part of Review Worldwide Limited, or some other variation of it. Next, in 2013, that company was a consulting firm, no real mention of what for, may have just been put on the letterhead for fun, or they might have requested it, still there's a connection, to the project for Horizon 2020, European Union's Development Fund, for the Northeast Local Economic Partnership Smart Specialization Report on behalf of all of these cities. So it's at least involved in local politics, because this is going to be politics-based as well, and local projects, and you can look up the goals for Horizon 2020 and what was in the project. Okay, and that means that this person at 2013 was involved with, or connected with, or able to have contact with city councils in all these different areas, and may have just forgotten what the ones were in Gateshead. Okay. Horizon 2020 appeared on Mark Steele's LinkedIn profile as one of his chosen groups that he wanted to be associated with on his LinkedIn page to create a connection. I suppose I could type in CIA on mine if I had one. I had one at one time. It was useless, so I got rid of it. But that doesn't mean I've worked for them. But this is a little bit more of a connection than we were told about. Explanation given when someone pointed this out was he was, and again, this is third-party hearsay with a backflip, and it was written on the back of a chewing gum wrapper. He stated that he had gotten an award for excellence and didn't have any connection with them. But when you look up the website that mentions whether or not they give out an award, because they leave it up, they don't take it down after a while, he's not listed anywhere, nor is anything associated with that. So this is a positive indication of one-way acknowledgement. This project involving Gateshead and many other locations acknowledged that Review Worldwide Limited, or Review Limited, doesn't matter, the name changes, the connections are still there, where Mark Steele claims to be the high muckety muck, was associated with a project in 2013 that is virtually impossible to disconnect from the idea that they were planning 5G, that he would have connections in the area. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to explain a little about me in the city of Portland, Oregon, which I'm not in currently. In Portland, Oregon, me and a bunch of other hackers showed up. Yeah, I said the word because that's what it said on my tax return, because that was an actual business type. We all showed up at the city council explaining that the most durable and financially cheap and best option for business, yes, we were telling them what they wanted to hear, was for everybody in the area that had a Wi-Fi connection to allow themselves to be able to, but not required to, or forbidden from, or regulated in any way, no regulation, no interference, everybody in the area be encouraged to hook up one extra Wi-Fi hotspot box. It would be a relay repeater. Why? Internet. The internet, if you don't know about it, was originally envisioned as a way for communications to be impossible to shut down in the United States by creating a network not just around the world as you see it today, but all over the countryside, that would bypass any broken connection, whether it be a radio communication hookup or a cable or a satellite, and find a way to get a message from one point to another by remembering all the other things it's connected to. Doing the same thing in your window by putting a repeater in one corner on purpose, and on the other end, maybe even a different repeater, or just your own ordinary Wi-Fi, and giving them permission voluntarily by user. You'd have to follow a few instructions, or have a geek like me set it up. It would allow them to relay through each other as a secondary connection because, at the time, and still on many Wi-Fi routers, unless it's owned by a telephone company, that's foreshadowing, or Microsoft Corporation, that's major foreshadowing. This is what caused it. It had the option of using the extra telecom Wi-Fi antenna. There's 2 antennas in your laptop, to use that as a repeater connection to create a mesh network or ad hoc network so that you could extend range. This was thought of immediately when people thought of Wi-Fi because Wi-Fi at the time was very limited. It still is. So the idea was to set up a mesh network, and if it could find a connection, great, it would use it, and you could repeat through it. And it would use a protocol set, just like the internet, to make it to where it would be encrypted, and it wouldn't be easily broken into or broken. To make it to where if your internet got disconnected because the phone company turned it off, you could still have internet, and you would still be part of the grid for the good of the people. Comrade. Now, I joked with them before anybody else got up there, because I got to talk first. They're going to tell you this is communism or some other vague thing like that, and try to make you look bad and try to have it a little stink on it, like you didn't wipe your hands off after you wiped your butt. Maybe that was the reason I was thrown out of there. But anyway, the point is, I explained to them, someone is going to try to get you to believe that there's a bad taste in your mouth about the subject by saying communism, even though this is exactly what we use for the internet. And I also brought up net neutrality. Oh, well, I guess you didn't listen the last time I told you about that either. So anyway, what this did was it made it to where even if the telephone company went dead, which had happened the week before, or if Microsoft ran a rollout that made it to where they wouldn't use anything other than their own Wi-Fis without complaining a lot, they got caught by me and a bunch of other people all up and down the coastline. This would make it to where no corporation had control over the network. Now remember that directly behind me were people that we used to have fun with, catching them lying to us, like Comcast, that were not just fuming, but were literally heckling my ass. And then the other 15 guys who got up and said nearly identical wording. And then at one point, I forgot who it was, he says, are you all together? And we're all like, we're going to keep repeating this until you stop ignoring us because we were here last time and you ignored us outright. And then I got up again because they said I could. And then I quoted the amount of money each one of them got paid off by which phone company. I wasn't allowed in the building anymore. So, yeah, there are some conspiracies going on. Anyway, they awarded all the contracts over to eventually Comcast, giving them an absolute monopoly on things, and said the others could go, pound sand. And they kept the money they kept for bribes, and a lot of them retired as fast as possible. They wanted to pay off their houses and their boats and their hookers and their blow. But you didn't hear that from me. But anyway, that internet connection, another group of people did the Portland Telco project, which was also going on at the same time, which was a similar idea. You would provide free Wi-Fi for people, and the first page they get would tell them how they could set up their own Portland Telco Wi-Fi and whatever. And the only thing that managed to come out of this is that the city council was forced by all the voters before a vote could happen. You're not going to outlaw us being able to hook up our own relays. That's why you can get extenders and relays. Every city went through this. And every telecom company worrying about this went through this and tried to stop it. And they would lie and poison the well as much as possible. Sometimes by getting people to show up telling you about dangers, hidden dangers of networks like this, because it'll break into your computer and plant malware. Not that Microsoft Corporation had done it repeatedly. Not that the telephone companies had done it through their Wi-Fi. Not that they'd continue doing it by making their Wi-Fis not let you use that second antenna for anything. And now they use it for providing free connections for their customers. Your Wi-Fi at your house is giving them access to your network using your electricity, and your network connection slowing your connection down. You know that, and I know that. I'll provide a link if you like. But me telling you all that actually doesn't make it sound like I'm in on it. It tells you that I'm a rebel that tried to fix it. Him not discussing this and telling us the truth is suspicious. And it sounds like he's controlled opposition. That's all I've got to say. And yes, this is the 14th time I've tried to revise this and fix it. He even puts out a DVD for $7 trying to make money off of fear-mongering this. Which one of us do you think is more reputable? How about everybody else who criticizes him? You don't have to listen to me. Listen to everybody. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.